Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1 of May-June 2021. This is the paper 1 that we had recently in Mauritius, and it was sent to me by one of the subscribers. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the questions. So here we have question number 1. So here we have to write 0.45 as a fraction in its lowest term. So let's try to simplify this. So how can you first rewrite 0.45? This is going to be equal to 45 divided by 100, right? Then we can simply divide by 5. You will have 20, and you will have 9. So it will be 9 over 20. And that will be your answer for part A of the question. Now for part B, we have to write these fractions in order of size, starting with the smallest one. So the first thing we realize is that, hey, the denominators here are all different. Now since here we have 5, here we have 10, and here we have 20, we realize that these two are factors of 20. So we can change that to 20. So let's do one by one. So 4 over 5. We have to multiply this by 4 and 4 here to make this become 20. That will become 16. And same thing for this one. That will be 7 over 10. Multiply by 2, that will be 14 over 20. So now since everything is now over 20, we can compare the numerator directly. Okay, which one is the smallest one? You can see it will be this one, which is 7 over 10. Then we have this one, 4 over 5, and finally we have this one, 17 over 20. That will be question number 1. Let's move on to question number 2. So here we have to complete the description of symmetry of each shape. So here we have two kinds of symmetry. One is rotational and one is reflective symmetry. So for the first one, it's pretty easy. We have one in this direction, one in this direction, and one here. So we have 3 lines of symmetry. Now the order is also very similar, because here we have 3 of each kind. They are the same, so that will be order of 3. Now for this one, lines of symmetry, usually a square have 4 lines of symmetry. So let's check. So here, do we have 1? No, it doesn't match. Do we have 1? Nope. Nope and nope. So we have 0 line of symmetry. How about this one? How many rotational symmetry do we have? So we have to check. So let's see. If I were to rotate by how much, will we have the same shape? As you can see, right now we have this on top. So we have to rotate, as you can see, we have to rotate 180 for this to be on top, which means the order has to be 360 divided by 180. That will be order of 2. Okay, and that will be question number 2. Okay, now let's move on to question number 3. A group of 60 students will ask their favorite fruit, okay, and the results are shown in the table below. So in total, we must have 60 students. Now question, we have to complete the pie chart. So one by one. So we understand that this has to be for the angle in the pie chart. So 20 over 60 times 360. That will be what? That will be cancel out. That will be 6. That will be 120. Same thing here. 25 over 60 times 360. That should give you 6. That will be 150. And finally here we have 15 over 60 times 360. That will be 90. So the first one is here is 120 for apple. And we have to draw the rest, which is banana. So first we have to measure the angle, which is 150 for banana. So center here. And then 150 will be somewhere over here. Let's check. 150 will be on this line. So join these two to form the shape for banana. So this is banana. Here we have orange. Okay, and the angle here 90, and this have to be 150. Okay, and that will be question number 3. So let's move on to question number 4. So here we have to write this number correct to the nearest million. Now, first thing first, how do you write million? We write million as 1, and then we have followed by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So with 6 zeros. This is 1 million. Now here we have 6, 4, then we have 7, 8, 5, and 4, 9, 1. As you can see, right now if you want to write million, we have 64.785491 million. That is what we have right now. But we want to write all this to the nearest million, so we have to check this one right here. Is it more or equal to 5? It is 7. It is more than 5, so we have to add 1 to this one. That will be 65 million for your answer. Now for part B, by writing each number correct to 1 SF, estimate the value of this fraction. So one by one, the first number we have is 67.8. So because it is 1 SF, we have to leave the first one by itself and ask if this one, is it more or equal to 5? It is, then we have to add 1 to the first one. 6 plus 1 is 7, then all the rest will become 0. Now this one, 49.5, same thing, leave the first one by itself and ask if this one is more or equal to 5. Yes, it is, then we have to add 1. That will become 5 and the rest will become 0. And this one we have to first ignore the square. We'll look at the number which is on the inside. So we don't count 0, we have to count the first one and leave the first one by itself and ask ourselves if this one, is it more or equal to 5? Yes, it is, then we have to add 1. That will become 0.200. Then replace back in your main fraction. You will have 70 plus 50 over the value of 0.2 square. That will become, that will be 120. So 70 plus 50, that should be 120. And then divide by, so what is this one? So 0.2 times 0.2. The first thing we can do is ignore the decimal place. So 2 times 2 is 4. Then here we have 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place. So 2 in total. We count 1, 2. Should be here. 0.04. Now we can divide by 4. You will have 0.01. That should be 30. Then multiply by 100 on both sides. You will have 3000 over 1. So your answer will be 3000 for the estimated value of this fraction. Now for part 5, Omar and Jamil share 540 in the ratio of this. This is Omar and Jamil. Okay, so we have to find what is Omar's share. Pretty easy, because we know that in total, together, it will be 540. Together is 7 plus 2 is 9. So we know that 9 represents 540. How much does 1 represent? It will be 540 divided by 9, which is how much? 60. Now we want to find the share of Omar's. It will be 7. So 7, 1 is 60, 7 will be 7 times 60. And that will be 420 for the share of Omar. Now for part B, we have to increase 40 in the ratio of this. So pretty easy. That is increasing that. Initially it was 5. Let's turn it to 8. That will be 40 divided by 5 times 8. That will be 1, 8, and that will be 64. That will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. The base of a cuboid is a square with side length 4 centimeters, and the volume is given by this. Okay, so we have to first understand how does a shape looks like. So cuboid, it is simply something like this, right? Something like this. And the most important thing here, we have to count the number of faces that we have. So the base is a square, which means the top is also a square. However, so this is 4 and 4. We don't know the height. We have to find the height. Now, how do you find the volume of a cuboid? Volume is equal to length times width times height. That will be 16h. So from this, we know that volume is 48 is equal to 16h. So h has to be the value of 3. 48 divided by 16, that should be 3. So your height is 3. Now, we have to draw the net of this cuboid. So we have to have how many faces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 faces in total. Now the base is given to you, 4 by 4. Now we have to draw the walls or the sides around the face. So pretty easy. The height is 3. That should be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 right here, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is the walls around the shape, right? So we have to understand that. This is basically the walls that we have to draw. Okay, this with that, and this with this. So finally we have the walls, but now we don't have to, we also have to draw the top. We should not forget the top, because right now we only have 5 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the top will be the 6th side. The top is also a square, right? It will be 4 by 4 square. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should be the last part. That should be your net of your shape. Okay, that will be your question number 6. Okay, so let's move on to question number 7. A bag contains colored counters. A counter is taken from the bag at random. Okay, the table shows the chance of taking a counter of each color. Now, color we have red, green, blue, and yellow. The chance we have this, this, and this. We have to find this one. So we understand that by adding everything is supposed to give you 1. So we can find this by subtraction. So this plus this will give you 0.45, and plus 0.42, that should give you 780. So 1.00 minus 0.87, that should give you 910. That should be 3 and 1. So 0.13 for complete the table. That is part 7. Now question number 8, we have to work out this fraction or subtraction and giving your answer as a fraction. Pretty easy. So the first, let's break this down. We have 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 is 17 over 5 minus 1 times 4 plus 3. So 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 is 7 over 4. Now as you can see, we have different bases. We have to make them become the same. So we have to multiply them by each other. So that will be 20. Then we cross multiply. So here we have 17 times 4. That will be 28. That will be 68. So 68 minus the value of 35. That should be what? 68 minus 35. That should be 3. So 33 over 20 as your answer. Now, fraction, you can always simplify this. That will be what? 1, 13 over 20. That is question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So here we have what? We have the positions of 3 villages, A, B, C. Now we have A is due east of B. Okay, so this will have to be 90. That's the first thing we understand from that line. Now, using a ruler and a compass only, complete the scale drawing of the triangle ABC using a scale of 1 centimeter for 1 km. So which means this has to be 5 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and 9 centimeters, if that makes sense, right? Because it is 1 km to 1 cm. Now let's draw the triangle ABC. So we understand that to draw this we have to use a compass, right? So the length of BC is 8 cm. So let's first measure the length of 8 cm using a ruler. That should be somewhat about this length. That will be BC. So I'll go to the point B and draw my first arc. So B is right here. I'll go here and then draw my arc in this direction. Radius 8 centimeters. That's the first step. Next one, I have to measure the line AC, which is 5 cm. So measure 5 cm. Okay, that will be it. And then let's go to the point A and intersect the first arc that we did. That will be in this position. As you can see, we'll have a point of intersection. Now this point of intersection is your point C. Okay, this is how you will have to show the way or the method of finding your triangle ABC. Now let me join with this, and we have to join this with that one. That will be pretty much it. Okay, so that is part A of the question. Now for part B, we have to measure the bearing of C from B. From the point B, we have to find this angle going to C. So we have to measure. So we don't have to calculate, we have to measure. So we have to go here, the point B as a center, and then let's see what is the value of this angle. So let me continue this as well so we can read this correctly. The north line. Okay, for example, I can see where it cuts my reading completely. So you can see that will be my center right here. And then according to this, it shows to be about 120. For me, it shows to be about 125. It is my reading. It shows to be 125 for the value of the bearing. Now your answer may be 126, 127. It depends on how did you draw your diagram. It will depend on your measurements. So again, mine may not be correct because it was sent to me by scans by one of the subscribers. So you may have different answers, but the way to do this will be this way. That will be question number 9. Okay, so let's move on to question number 10. So here we have to write down this as a product of its prime factors. So we have to find the prime factors of 270. So let's do one by one. We can first divide by 2 because it is even. It will give you 1, 3. That will be 5. Divide by 5. That will give you 2. That will give you 3, 7. Divide by 3. That will give you 9, and 3, and 3. So 270 can be 2 times 3 power 3 and times 5. That will be part A of the question. Now for part B, let's see what do we have. We have to find the HCF of these two numbers. Okay, so here we have 270 already, which is 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 and times 5. Now what is the factors of 225? So divide by 5. That will be 45. Divide by 5, that should be 9. Divide by 3, that should be 3. So 225, that will be 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. Now to find the HCF, we have to match the common factors. So this will match with this, and this. As you can see, only 3 matches. So HCF, highest common factor, common, that will be 3 times 3 times 5. That will be 9. That will be 45 as your answer. Now let's move on to part 11. So here we have to solve the simultaneous equation. So we have to find the values of x and y. So in this case, you can use 2 methods. One we have elimination and one we have substitution. In my case, I prefer to use substitution. I don't know why, but it's just my preference. So let me use that. So let's first make x become subject here. X will be 18 plus 3y over 2. Now replace x. Back here you will have 5 times x will be 18 plus 3y over 2 plus 2y equal to 7. Okay, now since we have 2 here, I can multiply 2 everywhere to eliminate this value. So you will have 5, 18, 3y plus 4y equal to 14. Now 5 times 18, let's see. 5 times 18 will be what? That will be 90. So 90 plus 15y plus 4y equal to 14. 15 plus 4 will be 19y. Here we have 14 minus this. So we can also try the value of 90 minus 14. That should give you what? Let's see. So that will give you 8 here, 10. So 10 minus this will be 6, and that will be 7. This is 90 minus 14, but here we have 14 minus 9. That should be minus 76, right? So y will be what? Y will be minus 76 divided by 19. That should be. So here we have 9, here we have 6. So 9 times 4 is 36. So that will be 4. So y is 4, minus 4. Let's find the value of x. X we have to replace back here. X will be 18 minus 12 over 2. That will be what? 18 minus 12 is the value of 6 over 2. That should be 3. 3 will be this value. Now let's replace back in the equation to check if that is okay or not. So 5 times x will be 5 times 3 is 15 minus 2. So 2 times minus 4 is minus 8, and that is 7. So it is good. So confirm the value of x and y will be these two. That will be question number 11. Let's move on to question number 12. So here we have Lara goes for a ride. Now we have a distance time graph shows her journey. Okay. Now she begins here and the distance will be going upwards as you can see in the graph. Now this is the time of the day. Question number 1. We have to find her average speed in km per hour for the whole journey. So one by one, we understand that average speed is equal to what? Distance travel or total distance travel over total time taken to find that. Now one by one, distance travel will be from this point. She went all the way from this point here. She went here. So distance will be, the value right here should be what? So that should be 21, 22, 23, 24. That should be 24 km. So the distance travel will be 24 km. Over time taken was how much? Here we have 10 o'clock. It was 1:30. So she took 1 hour and a half, right? 1 hour and a half is 1.5 hours. So 1.5 hours. So simplify. That will be 24 over 1.5. We can send this over here. That will become 240 over 15. Right? So let's now we can just divide by 3. That should give me 5. That should give me 80. 1, that should be 16. So 16 km per hour will be the answer for question part A. Now for part 2, a car travels at a constant speed of 10 meters per second for 80 seconds. So pretty easy. From 0 to 80, it will be 10 meters per second. Obviously, in the good graph, it will be a straight line. In this case, it's just the scan was not perfect. That's why it's not as straight as it should be. It should be a straight line joining these 2 points. Okay. Now this is the first part of the journey. Now, it then decelerates at the rate of this until it stops, until it comes to rest at v equal to 0. This is the final speed. Now we know the initial speed was at 10. We know the acceleration was, we have 0.5. Now again, it decelerates is this much, accelerates will be minus 0.5. We want to find the time taken. So we know the formula already, which is what? Which is acceleration is equal to final speed minus initial speed over time taken. So time taken will be final speed minus initial speed over acceleration. That should be what? That should be 10 over half. That should be 20. So it would take 20 seconds for it to slow down. So 80 plus 20, that should be 100. So you will come down at 100 seconds. That should be the second part of your journey. Okay, so that will be your question part B of question number 12. Now let's move on to question number 13. So we have to write down this in standard form, pretty easy. Just move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will be 5.3 times 10 power minus 5. Then we have to multiply these two. So we can first multiply 1.5 times 8. So that will give you what? So 5 times 8 is, so first obviously we ignore the decimal place. So 5 times 8 is 40, that will be 0 here. 1 times 8 is 8 plus 4, that should be 12. So here we have 1 decimal place, that will be 1 decimal place. So that we have, this time this will be 12. Now about this one, here we have 10 power 14 multiplied by 10 power 6. By the laws of indices, that will be 14 plus 6. And that will be simply 20. Right? So you have 12 times 10 power 20, which is 1.2 times 10 power 21. as your answer for question number 13. Now for 14, the length of a path is measured as 62, correct, to the nearest meter, nearest 1 meter. So we have to write down, pretty easy, the upper bound of the length. So how do you find this? We found the length, measured value was 62, plus minus nearest value will be 1, then divide by 2. That will be the value of 62.5 and 61.5. So upper bound will be 62.5 meters. Now for part B, the mass of a bag is 80. Correct to the nearest 10 grams. So find the lower bound of the mass of 5 of these bags. So one by one. So first we have 80, the measured value, plus minus the nearest value over 2. That will become 85 and 75. Now to find the lower bound of the mass, we have to take the lower bound value. So this is one bag, so 5 bag, 5 times 75 will be what? So let's do this. 5 times 5 is 25, so we have 5 here at the bottom. And this times 5 will be 35 plus 2 will be this one. That will be 375 for the mass of 5 bags of the lower bound. So I hope you can do this yourself. Let's try again if you guys don't understand. That'd be 75 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, obviously. That'll be 35 plus 2 will be 37. And that is part B of the question. Now let's move on to question number 15. Okay, so this one is a locus question. I think it's pretty easy in my opinion. I hope you guys were able to do this as well pretty easily. Now we have to construct the locus of points inside of this shape, not outside, that are part 1, 6 centimeters from C. So first you have to measure 6 centimeters on your ruler. That will be what? Somewhat like this, right? 6. And then the center has to be the point S, right? So you go to your point S, and then you make an arc inside of that shape. Should be something like this. That is part 1 done. Now part 2, it has to be equidistant from QP and QR, but here we have Q and Q which are common, so it means that we have to draw the angle bisector of angle Q. So we have to go to angle Q, and then we just have to measure any length from the compass, anything that we want to. We just go to Q, and then cut this side and cut this side. Cut the line QP and the line QR, the one that we need here, and the 2 lines that I mentioned here. Now, with the same length, go to those 2 points of intersection. We have this one here, and then draw an arc here inside. Right? And then on this point as well, you have to intersect the first one. You will have something right here. As you can see, there's a point of intersection here. So we have to join the point Q with this point. That will give you this line. This line will be the bisector of the angle Q. That will be part 2 of the question done and done. Now question part B, we have to shade the region inside of the quad P, Q, or S containing the points that are part 1 more than 6 from S. So this will be S, that will be 6 from S, less than 6 will be here, more than 6 will be outside of this arc. Okay, now we have also closer to QR than to QP. So QP is over here, QR is over here, so it has to be closer to here. So 2 conditions combined together will be the region for this one. Okay, so that will be your answer for part B. Again, there's no need to have dotted lines or broken lines for those 2. That is okay. It doesn't really matter. That will be 15, question 15. Let's move on to question 16. So we have these 2 indices. We have to find the value of k. So let me guess, this is y power k power minus 2 is equal to y power 5. I think this is 5. I'm not too sure. So that will be, if you break this down, that will give you what? Y minus 2k, y power 5. Since the y are the same, we can cancel out. You'll have this. So k has to be minus 2.5. Now part B, we have to simplify this one. Pretty easy. Let's bring this power down. You will have x, 1 over 3 times 3 will be 1. 2x, then power 3 here. That will become x over 2 power 3 should be 8, and then x power 3. Cancel out. That will become 1 over 8x power 2. Let's move on to question number 17. In a sale, the price of a coat is reduced by 25%. Okay, now the sale price is 120, so we understand that the sale price is 120. What is the before the sale price? So cost, let's say before sale price. So we always like to think of the initial price, for example, it's X, but the value that we give the initial price, we always assume it is the original price at 100%. Now, given that we are applying a discount of 25%, so we have to minus 25%. The sale price is 75% of the original price. Now, we just use ratio to solve this pretty easily, which means 75% represents 120, right? 1% will be 120 divided by 75. So finally here we are trying to find this price, which is 100%. That will be 120 divided by 75 times 100. Let's divide. Divide by 25. You will have 3 here. That will be 4. Divide by 3. That will be 40. That will be 160 for the price of the product before the sale. That will be question 17. Let's move on to question number 18. So here we have y is inversely proportional to the cube of x. Cube of x is x power 3. Now y is inversely proportional to the cube of x, which means y is equal to k over x power 3. So let's move on. So we have to express y in terms of x. So we have to find the value of k first. So y is 24 when the value of x is this. That will be 1 over 8. So this brings you to k is equal to the value of 24 times 1 over 8. That should be 3. So finally, y will be 3 over x power 3. Now part B, we have to find the value of y when x equal to this. So let's see. So equation will be y is equal to k, which is 3 over x cubed. So replace x by 1 over 3 cube. That will be 3 over 1 over 27. Now we have to realize what is 3. 3 is the same as 3 over 1. So what do we have here? We have 3 over 1 divided by 1 over 27. Now we know that we don't like to work with divide. We change divide to multiply. And then we flip this upside down. That will become this. 3 times this will be 81. That will be part B of the question. Let's move on to question number 19. So on Monday, we have 40 adults and 20 children visit a museum. On Tuesday, we have 30 adults and 35 children visit the same museum. Okay. Now the cost for adult is this much. The cost for children is this much. Okay, as you can see here. This information can be represented by the matrix M and N. Part 1, find this one. So pretty easy. 40, 30, 20, 35, that is M, times N will be 2.5 times 2. So how do you multiply matrix? It is rows by column. So rows by column. So first one is 40 times 2.5 plus 20 times 2. And then we have this one, rows by column. That will be 30 times 2.5 plus 35 times 2. That will give you what? First one is, so this will cancel out the decimal place. So 4 times this will be 100 plus 40. And this will be cancel out as well. That will be 75 plus 70. Right, so your answer will be 140 and 145. That will be your value for the matrix product Mn. Now explain what the numbers mean. So pretty easy. If you observe, what happened here was, this is the number of adults and number of child. This is the Monday, this is Tuesday. This is the price of adult, this is the price of a child. So when you multiply those, you get what? You get the revenue or the total income for Monday. This is the income for Tuesday. So you can write this down. This they represent the revenue or income for the museum on Monday and Tuesday respectively. On Monday and Tuesday, I guess respectively, just to show that we know the order. Okay, that will be part 2. Now on part B, the museum increases the cost of the tickets by 10%. Okay, at first the price was what? Adult price was 2.5 and child price was $2. If you increase by 10%, we have to find the new price. So pretty easy. I think I will do this the easier way. For example, increase by 10%. So 10% of adult price is how much? It is 0.25. That was the increase. So the new price will be initial price plus increase. That will be 2.75. That's the new price for adults. Now same thing for the same steps for the child. So 10% times the child price. The increase will be 0.2. So the new price will be the initial price plus increase. That should be 2.20. That will be part B of the question. That will be question number 19. Now let's move on to question number 20. So here are the first 4 terms of the sequence. We have to find an expression for the nth term of the sequence. Now this question, I think maybe you guys struggle a little bit, but if you guys watch a lot of my videos, you guys should know how to do this step by step. So the idea here is we have to look at one by one. This is term number 1, term number 2, number 3, and 4. So let's first look at the numbers on the numerator. For example, we have term 1, 2, 3, and 4. On top we have what? We have 12. We have 17, 22, and 27. Now by observation you can see that every time it is increasing by the same value. It is increasing by plus 5, and plus 5. So we can write plus 5 to begin with. Now the first term, let's say the first term we know the value of n has to be 1. But when you replace here 5 times 1, it is 5. However, we know that the real value of the first term is 12. So it is not okay. How can you make 5 become 12? You have to plus the value of 7. So we have to plus 7 over here. So this is the nth term on the numerator. Okay, now let's follow up with the denominator now. So here we have what? Here we have term 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now for the base we have what? We have 16, 25, 36, and 49. So what can we see? We can observe something. It is simply 4 power 2, 5 power 2, 6 power 2, and 7 power 2. Now how can we connect this term with this? So we have to find a relationship. So we can see that here what's happening here. We're taking 1 plus, so to make it become 4 we have to add 1 plus 3 to make it become 4, then square. Here we are taking 2. Here we are adding 3 to become 5. So 3 plus 3. Here we have 4 plus 3 square. So what is the idea here? If you observe, if the term was n, we are taking the term, which is every time we're taking the term, taking n, we're adding n to 3 and then squaring the value to obtain that. So this is the nth term on the denominator. So the nth term, that should be 5n plus 7 over n plus 3 square for your answer. That will be question number 20. Now let's move on to question number 21. So here we have to write this down as this form. So again, you have many ways of doing this question. One we have seen many times before. However, I will show you another way which is kind of easy as well. So why not? Let me first expand this. You will have x squared plus 2ax plus a squared plus b. Now by comparison, we can see that this is what? X squared plus 10x and plus 6. So by comparing their coefficients, this is 1, 1, that is done, okay. Then we have this and this. So which means 2a has to be the value of 10, a has to be the value of 5. The last one we have this and this. A squared is 25 plus b has to be 6. So b has to be 6 minus 25 has to be minus 19. So here we have x plus 5 square minus 19 for my answer for part A. That will be part A. Now part B, we have to find the answer, use your answer from part 1 to solve this equation. So pretty easy. We have x plus 5 square minus 19 is equal to 0. So first we send this over here, becomes x plus 5 square equal to 19. X plus 5 equal to plus minus root of 19. So finally, x will be minus 5 plus minus root of 19. And this is your answer in this form. That will be question number 21. Now let's move on to question number 22. Here we have to express as a single fraction in its simplest form. So first thing first, the base are different. We have to make them become the same. So multiply them by each other. You will have x minus 7 times x plus 5. Then we cross multiply. So here we have 3 times this will be 3x plus 15. Here we have plus. 2 times this will be 2x minus 14. That'll be 3 plus 2 will be 5x. This will be plus 1 over this value. Okay, you don't need to expand. If you want to, you can do that, but you don't need to expand. You just have to simplify the top. That'll be question number 22. Now let's move on to question number 23. So here we have what? We have a diagram. We have two triangles. So triangle A and B are drawn on the grid. Part 1. Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. So A onto B. Now, what is this transformation that does that? We have to think by elimination. So it cannot be translation, it cannot be enlargement, it cannot be reflection. So the only one remaining will be, it can only be a rotation. So rotation, that will be your 1 mark for rotation. Now to find rotation, we also have to find the center of rotation. So how do you find center of rotation? So there's many ways. So one of the easiest way will be to look at the points. So first we have the object here. We know this became this. This is the image. So let me join those two lines. Next step is I will draw the perpendicular bisector of that line. So let's see. It is a vertical line, so you have to be in the midpoint. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 will be right here. 60 right here is 3. So this line is what? It is the perpendicular bisector of that line. That's the first step. And the next step is, let's choose another point. We can choose this point right here. This is the object and this is the image. So let's join those two. Okay. And then again we have to draw the perpendicular bisector of that point. So you usually have to use your compass to do that, but in this case you can see kind of obviously it will lead to which value? Should be somewhere about this at 90 degrees, so it should be something like that. As you can see, the two lines meet here, so the point of intersection of their perpendicular bisector gives you the center of rotation. That will be 1 minus 1 is the center of rotation. That will be the center of rotation. Now finally, for your third mark, you have to provide the angle of rotation. So pretty easy. We just have to join one of the points here with the center, right? And then join the image as well with the image and object corresponding to the center. Now by observation you can see what is the angle over here. Right, it is pretty clear. It should be 90 degrees. So it has to be 90 degrees, and because it went in this way, this direction has to be. So you would say this is clockwise or anti-clockwise. We know that this direction has to be clockwise, and this has to be anti-clockwise. So this will be clockwise. Okay, and that will be your question, part A of 23. Now let's move on to part B. So here we have the P of matrix P, sorry. And here we have to say, it says that P matrix, P maps triangle A onto triangle C. We have to find the point C. So pretty easy. We understand that matrix times object is equal to image. So matrix is minus half, 0, 0 minus half, times the object is equal to triangle A. The points of A will be minus 2, 0. Then we have minus 4, 0. Then we have minus 2, minus 4. These are the points given to you on this triangle. Now we have to solve one by one. This rows by column, so minus this time this should give you the value of 1 plus 0, that will be 1. Rows by column, that should be 2. Rows by column, that should be 1 as well. And for this one, rows by column, that should be 0. That should be 0 as well, and that should be 2. So this is the points of the triangle C. Now of course you can plot these points. That will be 1, 0 will be right here. Then we have 2, 0 should be right here, and then 2, 1 should be, sorry, 1, 2 should be right here. So this is my triangle C. So you have to label this at the end for your answer. Okay, so this is basically an enlargement with factor minus half, and center should be somewhere in the middle. I think 0, 0. That will be question number 23. Now let's move on to question number 24. A group of office workers are each asked to record the distance dkm they travel to work. The results for some of their journeys are shown in the histogram. Now we have to kind of know already, when we draw a histogram, what we need to find. We usually find the frequency density. It is equal to frequency over class width. That is the definition of frequency density. Now let's move on. We have this for now, and then here we have, there were 20 workers in the group of 0 to 5. So 0 to 5, as we can see, this is this group. The height was 4, so FD was 4 for that group. Now how do you find FD? As you can see, it is frequency, that will be 20 over the value of class width was 5 minus 0 will be 5, and it is 4. So basically it is matching. So in this case we can proceed directly with a formula to find the value of FD. Because sometimes what they do is, the reason why I like to check this is because sometimes they tend to play with the height. For example, sometimes they may give you the height as 8, then give you those two values, then it will change for everything else. But in this case it was pretty direct. As you can see, the formula corresponds to the value directly. But in this case is pretty simple. Now part A, there were 12 workers in this group. So 20 to 40, there's 12 workers. We have to find the value of FD. That will be frequency should be 12 divided by class width, 40 minus 20, that should be 20. Divided by 2, that should be 6 over 10, that should be 0.6. That should be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 should be right here. So it has to be drawn with a straight line. Of course, use a ruler for this one, and this will be your answer. For part A, complete the histogram. Now let's move on to part B of the question. So we have to calculate the percentage of workers who travel more than 20 km to work. Now we know already, more than 20 km, it is in this group, it will be 12 people given to you right here. But to find the percentage, we need to find the number of people over the total number of people times 100. So what is the total number of people? This is 12. How much is this one? Pretty easy. Using your formula, frequency will be class width times height. That will be 10 for class width. Height will be 1.8. That should be 18. Now this one, class width is 5. Height is 6. That will be 5 times 6 should be 30. And this is 20 given to you by the question. So if you add everything together, it will be the total number of people. So 20 plus 30 plus 18 plus 12 should give you what? This is 50. This is 30. That should give you 80. So the percentage should be the number of people traveling more than 20 km should be 12 over total should be 80 times 100. So simplify, that should give you what? Cancel out. That will give you 3 here, divided by 4, divided by, that will be 2, 1, 5. 15%. So 15% will be your answer for part B of question 24. Okay, so let's move on to question number 25. Now the algebraic expression can be simplified to this, so let's find the value of a and b. So this one is simply by comparison. If you observe, how did we change this to that? So first thing, let's see what can be done with the base. It's the same thing as x squared minus 4 squared, which is x minus 4 times x plus 4. Okay, so let's rewrite this. Right now we have 2x squared minus 5x plus a over the value of x minus 4 x plus 4. Now we are saying that, the question is saying that this is the same as 2x plus b over the value of x plus 4. Right. So for us to get this, from that, we realized that we had to cancel the value here, which is x minus 4, x minus 4. For this to become this, but we have to cancel out this value right here. Let's try to expand this. What will we have on top? That will give you 2x squared minus 8x. Then we have bx minus 4b over the same base. Now simplify, you will have a 2x squared, we have plus b minus 8x minus 4b over the value of 2. So we compare with the value of 2x, this one, minus 5x, so plus or minus 5x, and then value of plus 8. So by comparison, we can see that this is this have to be this, and this have to be this. So basically we have b, this should be minus 5, and minus 4b has to be the value of a. Let's first find b. b will be the value of minus 5 plus 8, that should be 3. And then finally we have minus 4 times 3, that should be minus 12 for the value of a. A will be minus 12 and b should be the value of 3. Now again, you can always go back and check the value if you want to. So let's say we go back on top, we have what? We have 2x squared. So we have minus 5x plus a is minus 12. Let's try to factorize this. That will be 2 brackets. That will be 2x times x. And that should be 4 times 3. So 4 times 3. To get minus 5, we have to have minus 8 plus 3. As you can see, this will become something like this. And this will cancel out to give you this. So it's confirmed. This is the way to confirm if it is okay or not. So we confirm the value is right. This will be your value of a and value of b by comparison. That will be your question number 25. So again, I think that was the paper for this year. For this session of May, June. In my own opinion, it is not very hard. If you guys did the hard work before this, you should be okay. You should at least pass easily this paper. Now, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.